This is Mac OS Ken.
Government, targets, and tech, a new guy to push Apple Car, and a couple of Apple TV Plus stories. It is Friday, the 11th of June, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by the Business Movers podcast from Wondery. Catch up now on Business Movers Season 5, The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. After a week of WWDC happenings and goings-on, news today seems sort of normal. That does, of course, mean attacks on Apple from the EU, from Capitol Hill, and a bit of political intrigue to boot. Maybe we'll start there and work our way around. The New York Times ran a report Thursday evening saying that the Department of Justice under the Trump administration served subpoenas to Apple for info on people from the House Intelligence Committee. CNET highlights the report, saying the targets included at least 2 Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee, aides, and family members, one of whom was a minor. Cast your mind back to 2017. Remember when the White House was leaking like a sieve? We knew a lot about conversations the administration was having with the Russians. According to CNET, prosecutors who seized the records in 2017 and early 2018 were searching for the source of media leaks about contacts between Trump associates and Russia, the Times reported. Representative Adam Schiff of California, then the panel's top Democrat, was one of the members of Congress targeted, sources told the paper. While Apple and the DOJ both declined to comment for the paper of record, the report has an unnamed source indicating that Apple provided metadata and account information, but not photos, emails, or other content. Ultimately, CNET says, the data subpoena didn't tie the committee to the leaks, according to the Times. While I've seen a few comments aiming snark at Apple, Representative Schiff did not. A post on Twitter had him taking aim at the former president, not the Cupertino Company. We'll stay on Capitol Hill for more business-as-usual type news. A piece from Apple Insider says a package of 5 bills is reportedly about to be presented aimed at curbing anti-competitive behavior and limiting mergers. According to Politico, according to Apple Insider, House Democrats intend that the new bills address key concerns, among them a bill battling conflicts of interest. If passed, the piece says it could enable the DOJ or the Federal Trade Commission to break up dominant platforms that give preferential promotion to their own services. While you might think that would deal with the self-dealing, the piece says another bill concerning non-discrimination is also about preventing this self-preferencing practice. A third would require companies to make it easier for consumers to move data from one platform to another. A fourth would keep companies from acquiring other companies simply to remove a competitor. And the last bill seeks to increase the fees paid to antitrust agencies when reviewing mergers. While we haven't known when these hammers were going to fall, we had heard there would be a few. Back in March, Axios had the head of the House Judiciary Committee's antitrust panel, Representative David Cicilline, Democrat of Rhode Island, planning several legal moves against big tech rather than one sweeping move. At the time, Cicilline's thinking was that lots of smaller hits in quick succession would be harder for big tech lobbyists to gear up against. Additionally, he thought he might find more common ground across the aisle on some of his proposals rather than trying to get any Republicans on board with one giant push. Off now to the European Union, which is about as friendly as it ever is to Apple. Another piece from Apple Insider has the head of the European Commission's antitrust division, Margrethe Vestager, saying she wants Apple to open the iPhone to app stores that compete with Apple's. The report has Vistaya speaking with Kara Swisher on the Sway podcast. According to the report, she wants legislation that'll force gatekeepers to allow more competition on the platforms they have created, Apple among them. While Swisher presented Apple's argument that the single app store protects user privacy and security, Vistaya is not the Privacy and Security Commissioner. She's the competition authority. It makes sense, I suppose, that in her mind, competition would trump safety. Quoting Apple Insider, it is these restrictions and a single party both creating and controlling the market that led to unfair competitive practices, according to Vistaya. Apple doesn't have to pay a fee for its digital sales to itself, she believes. Therefore, the company is competing with an advantage right out of the gate. Assuming her definition of gatekeeper, Vistaya says the EC could lay down new rules for big tech, eventually saying, these are the things that you have to do. Have to do could be make room for a second app store. Have to do could be share data. The commissioner went on to say, I think a second app store, that is in the future. That will take time because it's in the legislative proposal that we have tabled in front of the European Parliament. But I would hope that we could conclude this case in good time, and then we'd see how to remedy this. Depends, of course, very much on the Apple answer to our concerns. More news in a moment. But first, a word from the Business Movers podcast from Wondery. Now in its 5th season, The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs. From the iPhone to Pixar, Steve Jobs led a career full of groundbreaking innovation. But his road to Silicon Valley's success was a rocky one, filled with failure and burned bridges. From Wondery, on the new season of Business Movers, learn how Jobs took Apple from near disaster to total triumph. Yeah, we're hitting the total triumph part. Episode 3 is out now, Metamorphosis. That has Steve Jobs back at Apple and introducing the iPod. It's not just a recitation of facts. The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs tells the story of Jobs' trajectory. It's an interesting style. And you can hear it now. Listen to Business Movers, The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or you can listen 1 week early and ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app. Wondery. Feel the story. Apple's apparently trying to spur iPhone sales in the Great White North. Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company is offering people in Canada a $75 Apple Store gift card with the purchase of an iPhone 12 or iPhone 12 mini. According to the report, the offer is valid in Canada at physical Apple Store locations, through Apple's online store, in the Apple Store app, or by calling 1-800-MY-APPLE for iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 mini purchases made between the 10th of June and June 28th. To me, this raises so many questions. Why a $75 discount effectively on the least expensive phones? Are sales of those phones struggling in Canada? Is Apple already trying to clear inventory ahead of whatever the next iPhone is called? We won't get answers to these questions, of course, but the questions are still there. Apple's reportedly hired another electric car guy. Bloomberg has secret people said to know something about something, saying that Ulrich Kranz has joined the Cupertino company. Kranz used to work at BMW in its electric car division. It's not been a straight hop from one to the other, though. According to the report, Kranz left BMW in 2016 and soon became chief technology officer at Faraday Future, an electric vehicle startup based in LA. He stayed only 3 months before co-founding Canoo. The piece says Canoo develops self-driving EVs. The report has Kranz leaving that company in the last couple of months. If that company name sounds familiar, by the way, we've talked about them here before. Reports surfaced in January that Apple and Canoo had held acquisition talks in the first half of 2020. For the sake of clarity, the talks centered on Apple buying Canoo, not the other way around. We finally know when the weather app Dark Sky will go truly dark. Actually, no, we don't. We know how long it's going to stay light, might be a better way to say it. 9 to 5 Mac says that it will stay around for at least another year and a half. That is later than expected. Apple bought the hyper-local weather app Dark Sky about a year ago. At the time, the piece says, Apple said the Dark Sky API, which is used by various third-party weather applications, would shut down at the end of 2021. Plans have shifted, however, and Dark Sky now says its API will be available for an additional year. The iOS app and website will also live on for another year. Apple killed the Dark Sky app for Android last summer. Another big name has joined the Apple animated feature Luck. The Hollywood Reporter says Whoopi Goldberg will fill a leading voice role in the film. As a reminder, the report says Luck centers on the unluckiest girl in the world, who after stumbling upon the never-before-seen world of good and bad luck, must join together with magical creatures to uncover a more powerful force. The piece says Goldberg will voice the Captain, the tough-as-nails head of security for the land of good luck. Now, I said that she was another big name joining the film. Jane Fonda has already signed on for the project. The Hollywood Reporter says she will voice the dragon, who is the CEO of the Land of Good Luck. Luck lands on Apple TV Plus via the streamer's overall deal with Skydance Animation. The film's IMDb page says it's expected to hit early next year. And finally today, if you saw Season 1 of See and want to see more, you can see Season 2 soon, and there'll even be a Season 3 to see. You see, Apple issued a press release Thursday announcing the premiere date for the show's second season. It's also given the go-ahead for a third season despite no one having seen the second one. I have yet to see See. I keep thinking about it. I keep not doing it. I'm kind of bummed that I read the press release because, you guessed it, spoilers. The one thing I will tell you, Drax the Destroyer is coming. Which is to say Dave Bautista of Guardians of the Galaxy and Blade Runner 2049 fame is joining the cast. You can see the See Season 2 premiere on Friday, the 27th of August. Coming up in a few minutes, Mac Daddy Adam Christensen rounds out our week of WWDC reactions. What got MacCast's motor humming? Find out in a few minutes. Look for it and listen wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by the Business Movers podcast from Wondery. Catch Business Movers Season 5, The Enlightenment of Steve Jobs, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or listen a week early and ad-free through Wondery Plus in the Wondery app. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macoscan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.